Hey, hey. Oh, here I am. Here I am. Where's my stuff? Just getting myself situated here. My stuff. Just getting myself situated here. Hey. Oh, my goodness. My goodness, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. My goodness, my goodness. I felt like Mr. Rogers right there. I just realized. Actually, here, let me put it. I felt like Mr. Rogers right there. I just realized. Actually, here, let me put it back to where I can see this. Yeah, there we go. I knew there was something wonky. Laura GV, good morning. Good morning. And Barbara and Kathy and romper room time again, huh? Here, you know what? I'm going to put on a little shawl. I always like to have a little covering, a little cozy, something to wrap around myself, even though my house isn't wicked cold yet. Good morning. Contrast. Got my stuff going on. Terry, good morning to you as well. I'm just getting myself adjusted. Laura GV, thank you for asking. I'm feeling almost human. I can hear the life in my voice more than the last many days. So thank you for asking. Patty, nice to see you. I just got out of the shower. Always makes you feel good. A little moisturizing, everything. The sound keeps on stuttering. I did move around a few things, but things should settle down. Yeah, and Shannon, you are right. Shannon, being sick is the worst. It really is. If you don't feel good physically, everything else doesn't matter. My world shrunk down to literally like a 3-foot by 6-foot section of my bed for the number of days. And now I'm hoping to slowly stretch my world open again. But yeah, I'm feeling not 100%, but I'd say in the 90s, high 80s, low to mid 90s. And so, yay. Yeah, Patty, you seem tired. Why, thank you. Actually, you should have seen me. Well, I canceled on Tuesday. Wednesday was only yesterday, and I showed up kind of halvesies. I was sick. Yeah, we went away on vacation, and this bums me out. I got to share with you. Yes, if able to shower, it's a good sign. I agree. I was able to stand up. I got like some sort of stomach bug on our vacation. And for the last number of days on our vacation, as well as the day we were coming home, and then Tuesday, I was feeling lousy. There we go. And what I will share with you from lessons learned, to me, it's really helpful to think, what did I learn from this? And one of the things I learned from this, frankly, and I shared it with my husband today, because, there are some things you think you can do on your own. That was me, thinking, no, I'll just let it run its course, my body, it'll just go through. But at a certain point, you may need some help, and that's okay. So what did help look like for me? Well, luckily enough, I had my husband there to encourage me to do that. Good morning, Judy and Bonnie and Crystal and everybody else who's showing up. The help that I needed was to go to the doctor and just say, here's what's bugging me. Can you help? And she says, yes, I have something that can help you. Yay for antibiotics. Now, I can't remember. I feel like it's been decades since I've taken an antibiotic. I don't really pay attention to that, but I rarely get really sick. And I will tell you, having something to make me feel better just makes me feel better. Laura GV, I was in the same camp as you. I will just hang in there. And I will just say, we could do that, but it will take longer to feel better. I'm pausing because I'm also realizing I haven't talked this much in quite a while, so I will try to modulate my tones so I don't blow out my vocal cords. And I think just hanging in there when you're sick. I'll riff on this for a little bit, but then we'll get into decluttering because I'm sick of talking about being sick. But here's what I learned is feeling like you can't do it alone, admitting you need help may mean that the situation is worse if you find out more information about it. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here. But what I will say is, and I mentioned this, I think, maybe last night on our abbreviated YouTube live, it was crazy. After going to the doctor and talking to the doctor, I hadn't taken a pill. I had not taken one pill. And yet on the way back from the doctor, I already felt better. Just the thought of, it's not something horrible and horrendous. It's just, my doctor walked in going, so Montezuma got his revenge on you. And I said, yeah, he did. And just the thought of it's going to be okay. Just the thought of I'm getting some help. My immune system is getting some backup for these antibiotics. They're both fighting the biotic thing, the thing that's in me. Just gave me such relief. And so I just share that with you from my experience of being physically sick. Trying to tough it out. I had tried that for a number of days and it didn't work. My husband and I even realized too, because what I don't want to happen, what I've learned from this is I have to figure out a way that if I have what they call a delicate constitution, I still want to be able to travel the world and not spend half of our trip in bed or on the toilet. So I need to learn what I can do. And I thought I was doing some good things. I was eating toast and rice when I was there at an all-inclusive resort. Now, granted, I had a couple of cocktails, but still. Take care of your human body. And if what you're doing isn't working, get some help. Okay? Get some help. So, yeah. And there may be, I will say this, for the people who are saying that things are kind of glitchy, I know the weather's kind of wonky everywhere. From my perspective, I have a strong Wi-Fi connection. I've got 3 out of 4 bars on my cell, and it says good connection on my part. So hopefully it will rectify itself. The other thing, too, is this will be recorded and put on the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel. So hopefully the recording is not glitchy. So, yeah. Hey, Ellen, thank you for thinking. I'm glad to feel better. Off to donate more items today. Coats for those who need it. Oh, that's so good. Stay warm. Oh, you betcha. You betcha. So, yes. So, did feel sick. Tried to do it myself. Didn't really work. Got some help. Feeling better. Relief. All right. So for those of you who don't know me and who's like, okay, I'm scrolling on my TikTok and some lady's complaining about having Montezuma's revenge. This is not so fun. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. I have been doing decluttering life coaching with people for 5, 10, 15, 20, I mean, kind of my whole life, very informally. But over the past 5 years or so, really seriously as a decluttering life coach. And for the last almost 3 years, I think if we went back, my computer's not hooked up because I was watching All Creatures Great and Small on my laptop in bed last night. It's my comfort zone is Masterpiece Theater. But I could look back and see when my very first TikTok video was, and I know it was over 3 years ago. And I show up almost every day for TikTok lives and YouTube lives. I mix it up. I mix it up so the trolls can't find us. And I'm going to be here, and I'm looking forward to completing an entire hour of a TikTok live. I'll be here for the next 51 minutes to help you with what you're struggling with. Notice I said when I was feeling sick, I tried to do it on my own. My body was trying to use all its forces it could to beat those biological warfare happen in my body and it wasn't working. There's nothing wrong with getting help. And the neat thing is when you're here on a Destination Decluttered TikTok Live, you don't just have my help. There are such good people, such awesome people who show up in the comments that also can chime in with what's worked for them, with some encouragement, with some positivity, with some practical tips. So you're in good company. You are amongst good people if you are here and you're struggling with clutter. And maybe you don't even want to put what you're struggling with clutter-wise in the comments. I get that. I'm a pretty private person myself. I lurk a lot. But the neat thing is if anybody puts one in there, you're going to learn from everybody here. So sit back, grab yourself some water, please hydrate. As I remind myself to hydrate, as we forgive those who trespass against us. I don't know, it just came up. There we go. Laura Gibbon Voorhees. So Laura and I have been hanging out for a while here on TikTok, and she does her decluttering while I do my chatting. And she says, yesterday, I tidied up my closet. Now notice that. I tidied it up. Looks good. But today, she's going a level deeper, and she's going to make it function well. I'm going to rework it so it works easier. And I am here to say to you, yay for easy. Why make it difficult if you can make it easy? Why make it difficult to live in your home? Maybe because you think there's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. All that you can do is watch them play. There are other ways to do things to make it easier for you. And frankly, to me, it all starts with decluttering. But even before you get to the decluttering part, there's a lot of steps. Not many. I don't like to overwhelm. I get overwhelmed with too many steps. So I like to keep things easy. And I will share with you that there are some steps that would be beneficial for you to walk through. Notice steps, walking through the steps, so that you get to a point where you feel good about what you are letting go of, because you know that releasing that opens up space for other cool stuff. Now, many people struggle with decluttering because they are stuck in the fear. What if I need it on some day? Now, case in point, I mean, this is a really good thing. I'm here in Eastern PA, and I know just from looking at TikTok that we've got a storm coming, people. There's a wicked storm coming, okay? Many of us, well, not me, frankly, because we live like 2 blocks from a grocery store. I can walk there. Many people stock up for emergencies in the pantry, in the kitchen, okay? So maybe this is one of those emergencies where you're like, oh, hey, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling taken care of because I have stuff in my pantry. I think it would be really beneficial to you. Part of decluttering is even just, honestly, take an inventory, seeing what you have, seeing when things expire. Because some of the things you may have purchased after the fear of, getting caught with your pants down is the phrase that came to my brain, so I'm sharing it. Last time you're like, that's never going to happen to me again. I'm going to be prepared. Well, that last storm may have been last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So how about today? Today might be a cool time for you to practice the art and science of decluttering by simply opening up a kitchen cabinet, looking at one shelf. I highly recommend the top shelf because that's the stuff that's out of sight, out of mind sometimes. And I offer to you, just take a look. Don't judge. And this is a great thing about numbers. Take a look at the expiration date of just the things on one top shelf of your cupboard and see what you find. Okay? Now, Jules, I see you. Oh, that's tough. Jules is saying, do you have tips on parting with my late wife's belongings? Ooh, yeah, I do. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to this concept that I've kind of come up with that works for me, works for the people I coach with, about kind of 3 layers of clutter But before we even get to those 3 layers, I just want to quickly review kind of the 4 things to prep yourself with before any project, job, decluttering. Number 1, which I barely made past 1 and 2 this week, make sure you're feeling okay physically. So before you even start to go into the process of getting rid of somebody's belongings of somebody who has passed, make sure you're feeling okay physically, because if you're not, nothing else matters. The second part is going to be making sure you feel okay mentally. Now, what do I mean by that? It's that your nervous system isn't all activated and you're feeling kind of okay right here. A little, I can do this. Number 3 is going to be writing things down. Getting your thoughts out of your head and down on paper is a game changer. Highly underrated because nobody makes money from it, except for maybe Staples and the pen and paper people. Writing things down and then chunking down what you wrote. And what I highly recommend you write down is, what do I want? And not just what do I want of my late wife's things, but what do I want my home to look like now that she's gone? What do I want to do now that she's gone? Okay, so there's a couple of steps right there. And the neat thing is this TikTok Live is recorded, so you can go to the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel, and I'm pointing over here because that's where my computer screen is. And you can rewatch this. But the 3 layers of clutter I want to inform you about is 2. The items that were owned by people who are no longer in your life, typically because they're dead, is the deepest, most struggly bit of decluttering, and yet you can do it in a way that feels okay for you. So there's 3 layers of clutter. There's surface, just, regular surface, tissues here and, socks on the floor and stuff on the counter. Surface clutter, very superficial, but important to clear the surfaces so you have a place to go through the other stuff. The second one is going to be stored clutter. Now, stored clutter can be a variety of things, but typically what I consider stored clutter is what I referred to earlier, is stuff that is stored, like, I like to call it, because I think it's fun to rhyme, stored drawers and doors. So anything that's behind a door, like I said, kitchen cabinets on a shelf, that's stored stuff. So there's surface, there's stored, stuff that's in drawers and behind doors. And then there's sentimental. Now notice all of them begin with S to hopefully help you remember this. You, my dear, are dealing with sentimental. Notice where my heart goes. Anytime I say sentimental, right to the heart. Shot through the heart, and you're too vain. You give love a bad name, I believe Mr. Bon Jovi once said. So what I recommend is making sure you're feeling okay, that you're feeling ready to do it without feeling like you're going to die or throw up or cry or poop your pants or really feel awful. When you feel better, you will do better. But deal with sentimental clutter slowly and at a pace you can handle. Okay? At a pace you can handle. I have done all her clothes, so notice, clothing is, I'm glad and I hope I'm not hitting you, but I hope they're helping you. Jules is saying your words are hitting right where they need to. Okay, cool. So what I will offer to you is this. Much like I am recovering from being sick, you are recovering from a trauma to your body and your life as well. I have totally chunked down and slowed down my week. I have canceled appointments. I've rescheduled clients. I have spent hours in bed so that I can feel better. And so when I feel better, think about this. I probably haven't mentioned this, but like above me, I have this little kind of road trip thing. I don't know if you guys can see it the way you're looking at your phones or whatever. But I want you to think about it, is that you have some tanks in your body, like your car, that are running on empty. And doing something to fill them up. But then even filling them up, you may use some of that gas when you're doing stuff. So you have to be mindful, like when you're on a road trip. How far do I want to go, but how much gas do I have in my tank? And maybe you want to get it all done, and you will, but maybe you only do it 5 miles a day. A little bit helps, and honestly, the little bit at a time process, every little bit helps, and in doing a little bit at a time allows your nervous system to feel safe in what you're doing. Kind of like when I was eating. Today, it was a big deal for me to have 2 pieces of toast. I know, crazy, out of control. Because yesterday, 1 piece of toast felt like I could handle it, so let me push it out a little bit. The day before that, I couldn't even keep a cracker down. So don't beat yourself up if you are going slowly. Don't beat yourself up at all for anything, please. It doesn't have the desired effect. Trust your body when it feels okay to do it. Open up a box. Just look at the stuff. Sometimes we're afraid of stuff in boxes and you end up being like, oh, this is no big deal. This is like her socks and underpants. Or this is like stupid stuff. So that's surface level. Deal with what you can deal with, but practice and do a little bit. Okay? Yeah, we're sending our love. Now, Aisha says, that's my problem. I never feel better. Okay, Aisha, what I want to offer to you is this. And again, I'm talking about it seriously, coming out of feeling like shit since Saturday. And I will say this. If you're not feeling better on your own after a certain amount of time, please go get some help. Talk to a friend. Talk to somebody who can do something to help you. If you're feeling like you're not getting over it. That was me. I was like, oh no, I'm good. I'll just run through it. I'll just feel. And days passed and it wasn't working. And with the encouragement of my husband, because I was like, no, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. He said, call the doctor. And the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. He said, call the doctor. I called the doctor. He drove me to the doctor because I couldn't even drive myself. He accompanied me into the doctor's office. I even had him come in to the doctor's appointment because I was afraid I wasn't going to remember stuff. So have somebody to help you. And if you don't have people in your circle to help you, find some people. There are good people out there. And Jules, if she was a collector, look, I'm a collector myself. So I say this to you. If you are afraid, here's the thing about letting go of the items that other people collected. Do not feel bad releasing those collections back out into the wild. If you don't like what they collected, release them out there so somebody else who collects that stuff will be thrilled to find those things, much like your wife did when she went and found them. As a collector, I can tell you, sometimes having the thing isn't the thing. It's the thrill of discovery and the sharing of what you had and, oh, this is so good. And then after you own it, you're like, meh, it's okay. Some things you still love, and I hope you love everything. But as a reminder to everybody, the person who passed does not live in the item. The person that passed will forever live in your heart. Now you have physical items that you may look at, like the Bionic Man. And then that sends a message, it sends an image back to your brain, and then your brain kind of opens up a file that tells you a story. Now, we are storytellers as human beings. And so notice that you can keep the story and let go of the item. It's funny because I just remembered I have this, my sticky note ain't so sticky anymore. But think about it. Here's an item. This was sitting on a shelf in a gift shop in Avoca, I can't remember how to pronounce it, in Ireland. Okay, it was just a regular old mug, and there were like 50 like it. Okay, I bought it. Suddenly, I am imbuing it with a story. I'm attaching my story about the thing. I bought this in Ireland. I thought it was cool because it says not just all those who wander are lost. And I thought it was so cool that it was like, you are here, and it pointed to Ireland, and I love maps. Okay? And I say to you that, like, I don't use this as a mug anymore because it's too small. And if I was, notice, I'm not even feeling, you guys, I'm not even feeling up to drinking tea. I'm just drinking water. But when I realized this was not going to work out as a mug for me, I said, well, can I do anything else with it? And lo and behold, I made it into the thing for my pens. But if it didn't work out for me and I couldn't figure out what to do, I would not forget that I visited Ireland simply because I put that mug in a box for a donation place. The other thing too is, again, the person who is gone lives on in your heart. And I'll be honest with you. This next part is kind of my way of dealing with things. But I'll share it with you in case it helps, okay? Which is, we here on earth are like limited. We only see what's around us, and we don't see the really big picture. And so we do the best we can with what we have, okay? Our loved ones who have passed, I imagine them looking down at us from above, and they get it. They have been released from that limited view of humanity, and they see the big picture, and they see how important it is to live a life that brings you joy and helps other people and all that good stuff. You have one thing that those people don't have, which is life. And the last thing they would want us to do is to waste any precious moment in grief and sadness when you could be out creating new stories for your life. So I like to think of the people that have passed cheering me on to, even if they wouldn't have done this in real life, because I had people that, oh, you can't let go of that, you know. But I say, they're saying, let it go. It doesn't even matter. Let it go. If it brings you joy to let it go, please do. Yeah. Okay, now Jules is saying it has been 3.5 years, but still not easy. That's okay. That's okay. Don't judge yourself. It's not a race. And anybody who's telling you you should get over it by now, flip them the bird. Seriously. But I will say, I bet there are little edges. Notice you felt able to get rid of the clothing. And as Laura GV says, grief processing has so many timelines and the lines can be stretchy. Yeah. You felt okay at one point to let go of her clothes. So you can say to yourself, as open-ended and as simple as, what do I feel like I could feel okay with letting go of today? And this is where I say, listen, but not listen externally. Listen internally. Listen to what the flower people say. Listen to your heart. Listen to your answer. What do I feel like I could do today? And part of me is like, well, I could try to eat another bite of toast. How does that feel? I think it would. How does that feel, Tummy? Does that feel okay? I feel like I could open up that one box. Yeah, and so notice I am selling our home, so I'm finding more and more. The cool thing is, Jules, I will promise you, the more you declutter, decluttering to me is a life skill and it is a muscle. What does that mean? I mean, it is a process that you will use for your entire life. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. The stronger, the Rosie the Riveter, the stronger you will become in doing it, and it will become easier. So the fact that you've done any decluttering right now is a really good sign. You are building your muscle to say, I can handle this. You know, when you say I can handle this, that's your nervous system saying, I can handle this without like losing my shit. Okay, so I think you're doing a lot of good stuff. And Jules, I will just offer, like I do these TikTok lives and YouTube lives often. I rarely cancel, but I had to cancel when I was sick. And so many of these TikTok lives, like literally almost 650, 900. I can't even tell, frankly, because my computer's not hooked up. 960, I think. Destination Decluttered videos on the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel. Pop one of those in when you're decluttering. Have some company, learn something, have something to kind of disrupt your sad thoughts. And that might help you too, okay? So anybody else here? Looks like we only almost have about 100 people here, and I know we're all listening, but does anybody else have something that you want to ask about decluttering the possessions of a loved one? And maybe what I'll do, today's what, Thursday? I will label today's TikTok Live, the one where we talked about letting go of loved ones stuff. I'll come up with a peppier name. Loved ones stuff who have passed. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or anything you want to add to help yourself and also, or help Jules if you've been in this process before? What the other thing I will say too, Jules, and this is a little bit more of a kind of a practical thing, but this is one of the things this is one of the things I learned when my dad passed. If you think that your wife collected things that may be worth some money, please get them evaluated. And even if that just means taking a picture and using Google Lens and looking stuff up with AI and looking at eBay, find out what those things are worth sooner rather than later. Because my family took 10 plus years to let go of some of my dad's stuff. And during those 10 years, the worth of some of these things that he paid hundreds of dollars for went down to people, we couldn't even give them away to people. Okay? So I just say, it can never hurt to take inventory, see how much what you have is worth, and that may help you make a decision as well. Who knows? Maybe your wife was like on the cutting edge of something, and now she's got whatever the kids are sorry, my nose is wicked itchy. I apologize. Whatever the kids are collecting these days may be hot. You may be able to release those things out into the wild and make a profit. Okay, so that's a lesson I wish I had learned. I wished we had looked up my dad's books, and not to be mean, it felt disrespectful and like we were, grave robbing and all we cared about was the money. But man, I'm sure my dad would have liked us to have spent less time in grief and denial and ignoring, which is, typical of my family, and more of see what these things are worth. Like watch the stock market, watch the book market. Who's buying these books or these paintings now? Now I loved it. German Maid says, and I'm going to reverse it because I took care of my gram for 5 years before she passed, and I saved one item from my Nana. Yeah, I think I can think of two offhand for my grandmother. I have a picture of her raising a glass of like a whiskey sour at the card table in the sitting room at Grammy's house. And I have this big, lovely turquoise bowl that didn't go with any of her stuff. It's probably why I liked it. So, yeah. Now, Kathy is saying, I have a portrait of an aunt who passed, and then a cutoff. I'm not sure what that means. And I will say this. Framing and things like that can jam you up. They can trip you up. Because putting a frame and glass around something makes it appear to be more precious than it really is. But the preciosity, the preciousness of something, the importance of something really isn't dictated by the materials around it, but it's dictated by the story it tells. And if that story is something you want to carry on in your family to have a portrait of Aunt so-and-so and the kids know and the grandkids and gets passed down, maybe that's a good reason to keep it. But if you've inherited a bunch of framed formal portraits of people that you don't even know, now mind you, this is coming from somebody who is the family archivist. I'm the person in charge of our family tree. I have a few other cousins who dabble in it as well as I do. But if there's no story behind it, it just becomes a black and white picture of some old person from back in the day. It really does. And no amount of holding on to it will uncover that story unless you actively research that. Yeah. Yeah, so Kathy is saying, okay, my aunt passed at age 2 before my mom was born. Why do I feel the need to hold on to this portrait? Kathy, I can't tell you, but I bet you if you asked yourself, you might have some ideas. Now, here's some things. I'll just pretend. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I will pretend I'm in your situation. I would feel like I was going to get in trouble with the family or the ghosts, because this is so precious and that's so-and-so. I would be afraid that it would be looked at from other people as disrespectful. Okay? As you're throwing, I can't believe, and I've seen people do this on TikTok, and it pisses me off when people judge other people for what they put into a thrift shop. They don't know the story behind something, you know? And so what I would say to you is this: look around your family, like just not the ghosts, not the spirits. And notice that you are, is there anybody else in your family who wants it? And if they say no, well, now you get to do anything you want with it. Now, notice how we often can be guided by voices, as the band says, of people that don't even exist anymore. But that's really a voice that we're making up in ourselves. Yeah. Now, it could be, I will say this, Jules, you may have missed. I would say that you're holding on to your aunt's picture because it's the only memory you have. And that could be true. But the aunt passed when she was 2 years old. Yeah. Getting in trouble with the older generation. That fear of, I would say patriarchy because that's what's coming to mind. But that I'm going to get in trouble by somebody who's older than me. And yet, they're not here. Now, I will tell you this. There was a portrait of me that my mother made. Because my mother was a great artist. She still could be, I'm sure. She did it for my grandmother. It hung in my grandmother's house. I have never liked it. I have had it for years, and I don't want to pass on that obligation to my nieces and nephews. Oh my God, what are we going to do with this? It looks like Auntie Beth in like 4th grade. Yeah, I don't know. I dismantled it out of the frame. I think I even threw the frame in the trash because it had my last name on it and I couldn't erase it. And I tore it up. Now, I didn't tear it up in anger. I just tore it up because I've trash picked before and I don't want anybody trash picking it out of there. And I am here to tell you, the spirits are quiet. If I told my mother this, she would probably have a fit, but that's her own issue. I feel okay with it. And I'm sure the next generation is relieved of having to figure out what the hell to do with this picture of Auntie Beth. So I am just offering to you my personal stories and what my brain would go to. So I would say this, Kathy, this is number 3, okay? This is writing stuff down. Go to a quiet place. Even have that picture there in front of you. And the other thing could be that was somebody who will be forgotten. Okay? And we will be forgotten too. Yeah. And that can be a scary thought. What do you mean I'm not going to be here one day? What do you mean? So I know we're getting into some deep stuff, but life is full of, what is it? Life is long and it's full of stuff. I'm quoting the Cramps, Goo Goo Muck. I'm of an age, what can I say? So this is fun. This is a fun thing, so maybe you could do this. Yeah, had in my Sentimental box a beautiful crafted frame with a picture of George Washington in it. You know? I ditched the photo of George and put a photo of our family in it. The frame goes so well in the room. Yeah. Yeah, and notice the difference. Cat Mama has Mom's baby picture and her parents' wedding photos in antiques frames, and I want them. Yeah. And I get that, and I honor that, and I don't try to convince anybody of anything. But I say to you, if you don't want it, that's okay. You are allowed to say no. And don't let anybody coerce you into something you don't want or want to do. If you know in your body and your heart and in your mind, I do not want that. And even if they do, because we are conditioned to allow people to push us, even when we say no, it's kind of awful. Welcome to the world. Even when you get it, you can still say no. I don't want you anymore. I don't want you anymore. Who is that? Barry White? Isaac Hayes? Somebody like that. The deep stuff is the deep stuff. But it doesn't get easier if you ignore it. Again, going back to me feeling sick, if I had ignored the fact that I had some sort of, I don't know, parasite biology, I'm taking an antibiotic, so whatever biotic thing is in me, if I thought I could fight that on my own, my body was doing its best. But saying no and doing something about it. Saying, it's not working on my own, let me do something about it. Okay, I hope that helps. And speaking of me and my ailments and whatnot, I'm going to take a sip of water. I suggest you all do that as well. And here's the thing too, being Gen Xers, and I don't know if everybody here is, but I will just speak for myself. Being a Gen Xer, we're like the Oreo cookie. We're like the good stuff in the middle. Yeah. And I say this because there may be a generation above us, and there's probably a generation below us, even if you don't have kids. And say, do I want to carry on this obligation of hanging on to stuff that is only recently invented, if you think about it, and has gotten even worse, frankly, with the explosion of mass-produced products and items. I would say 100 years ago, so what year would that be? 1926? People had far fewer things. But then there was the explosion, the post-World War II, not only the baby boomers, but you got to look at, the fact that there were factories that were set up that employed people to make things for World War II. But after they were done, they were employing people, and people were making money, and guys were coming home from the military and needed jobs. So they said, well, how can we retrofit these machines? And that's when the boom, the explosion of random shit happened. And then how can we make it, and how can we make it cheaper and all that? And that's when we have like an avalanche of stuff that overwhelms us. 100 years ago, this wasn't a problem. Now it is. And so we need to prepare our nervous systems to live a life that doesn't cause us to be in stress about it all the time. All right, Jules, you do what you need to do. I hope this helped. Yeah. Now, I mentioned this. What was it? Oh, funny, Laura Gibbon, I feel like I missed your first one, but I love that you say it went immediately into the trash when I got home. No one wants these. I didn't even want it. Right, yes. When people push things on you. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a cool thing. We are here at about 11:45-ish. It says 11:44, but close enough. And I'm feeling okay. Yesterday, I was dragging at the 45-minute mark. Now I can check my gas tank. How am I feeling? Do I feel like I have another 15 minutes in me? And the answer is yes, I do. So we're going to keep going. And to remind y'all, even though I'm not from the South, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Just a human on the planet trying to help my other humans. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. But I will be honest with you, What you learn from me is also how to take your nervous system from up here and calm down, you know? Yeah. And interesting, username 1984 says, I didn't let my family come over for a few years because I got rid of so much. And notice that fear of judgment, fear of getting in trouble. Oh my God, they're going to see I got rid of all this stuff, huh? But yay, I'm glad you finally did, and you still survived to tell the tale. Yeah. And I love it. Kara, nice to see you too. 4 boxes labeled to ship, 1 more to go, then jewelry. It's warm today. Wonderful. It's looking like it's nice out today. I'm going to test it because I have to go out this afternoon, and I may even drive myself. I may not have my husband's chauffeur take me, but nice to see you. Now, Patty, wasn't it interesting, as you said, when putting away Christmas away, if I had to move fast, what would really I have taken? Playing that game. What if I had to move fast for fear or for fun? What would I really have taken with me? Not so much. And notice that you have now created a distinction. You have now noticed in yourself when people say, but I love everything. Love is a superlative and everything is a superlative. But I can't let go of anything because I love it all. And yet when push comes to shove, there's some things you love more than others. Or you just have a lot of stuff that you're like, yeah, it's okay. Oh, hun. Yes, Laura GV, go take your meds, okay? You're not going to do anybody any good, especially yourself. Storm front migraine. Interesting to know. Yeah, I have to take a better look. The weather here is going to be what it is. Yeah. And you're right, Erin. Erin says, and decluttering lets you enjoy the things you love better. Yes. Think about it, and nobody really wants to live in a museum, except for if it was a museum of you. That if somebody came into your house, what story would your stuff tell about you? And decluttering lets you enjoy the things you love better. If it's surrounded by everything, you really don't know what was really important to that person. But if you kind of, yes, mine's a museum of me, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, as is our house. Somebody knows anytime anybody walks into our house, they say, wow, all right, there's some personality going on in here. It's not beige. It doesn't look like a Pottery Barn catalog. You're not searching for clues of, who the people were because it's right there. And it's okay to be a museum of you, highlighting the things you truly love. And of course you're going to have like a certain amount of just stored stuff because, I may need an egg beater at some time, but I don't have 15 egg beaters, So you get to enjoy the things you have more when you declutter, because the clutter, you guys, is not the good stuff. The clutter's the stuff that's kind of meh, it's okay. I don't hate it, but I don't love it, but it's here. And sometimes it may just clutter up and get in the way of the stuff that's the really good stuff. It's almost like I had a great aunt who worked for this company called Peck and Peck back in the day. And she used to say, the keynote of elegance, what was it? Simplicity is the keynote of elegance. And she would say, put on all the jewelry you think you want to wear and then take off one piece. Because sometimes you want to wear like the earrings and the necklace and the ring and the bracelet. Take off one of those. And then it shines more. So clutter is the stuff that you're kind of ambivalent about, or it's pushing you one way. Part of you wants to get rid of it. It does. And part of it, you're kind of afraid to get rid of it. And that's okay. Finding out what you're afraid of helps you deal with it. And all of us are afraid of pain and death. And sometimes we are afraid that decluttering is going to cause pain. Long-term pain, pain inflicted by others, getting in trouble. Don't underestimate that. And once you know that, it is so freeing. When you say, why am I not decluttering this thing or doing what I want to do, often it comes back to I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint somebody. I'm afraid they are going to be mad at me. I'm afraid. And once you know what you're afraid of, you realize that you have power to do something about it. Cher is saying, I try one thing a day. A drawer, a shelf. Yeah, that would be in my like little 4 thing. No. Yeah, that would be, what do we say? Physical body, nervous system, chunking, writing down, chunking down. Something small. Yes, a chunk. A chunk. One thing a day. A drawer is a chunk. A shelf is a chunk. Something small. Because big things can overwhelm. I will never forget the time my husband and I had moved to upstate Delaware from the beach, and walking into one of those shopping centers that was overwhelming. It was like a Bed Bath & Beyond, and I felt so dwarfed as a human being that it felt overwhelming and uncomfortable. Chunking things down, things that are human-sized, is what we're used to. Yeah. And I will share with you, even a box. If I was drinking my tea, one of my mugs, I made a little message to myself to remind me, every little bit helps. It really does. And anybody trying to tell you that it doesn't, I would question their motives. Why would they tell you? Why are you telling yourself that it doesn't count? If I'm telling you it does, why? What's the counteract? I want to get into like a little, I say like a discussion, but I'm like, okay, why doesn't every little bit help? Because it will take you a long time, but so what? Take your time, do it right. And then when you realize that you can do one thing, then maybe you just kind of try to push and expand your comfort zone. Much like me going from 1 piece of toast yesterday to 2 pieces of toast for breakfast today. Expanding my comfort zone, expanding my belly to take more food in because it hasn't eaten well since Friday. So every little bit helps. Remind yourself of that throughout the day. Okay? Yeah, exactly, LGV. The count. The count. And speaking of count, we've got about 8 minutes left. I just heard my husband come in. He was volunteering for the food bank, and he's going to totally make me take my antibiotic. Yeah. And yes, Patty, 100%. Make sure you put things in for you to enjoy your life, not just decluttering. Yeah. Oh, completely. I'm glad you mentioned that because to me, decluttering is, well, sometimes decluttering is enjoyable to me, but I'm a freak that way. So that's why I got into decluttering as a business. I don't want you guys to do what I do. I want you to do what you want to do. And noticing what you would spend your time with. What do you want to do with the time and space in your home? And make time and space for the things you want to do. You know, turn a room into your craft room. Make a corner your art studio. Set up some drums in the basement and give everybody an headphones, not headphones, what are they? Earplugs. Make it look good to you and make it work for your nervous system. Yes, because there's so many things that trigger our nervous systems, and rightly so, that it's like, yeah, mess and clutter triggers me. Yeah. Right. And Patty, I really hope, because I remember when we were chatting about stuff, I got lost in house and chores, etc., and I found I wasn't doing stuff I enjoyed. I hope you are doing stuff you enjoy now. Yeah. Yeah. And really, the interesting thing I will share with you is that, and I know there are scientific studies to back this up, that clutter also makes your brain work extra hard because your brain is translating everything you see into the images you see in your brain. And so the more you have to be identifying and creating the image on your, in your brain and your retina and all that, the more exhausting it can be. That's why in my place, I have areas that are kind of very contained areas of chaos that I love. Here, I'll show you. Okay, can you see up there? Right up there? See, I've got all that clutter, but then you go around to another side of the room, and it gives, I know this sounds weird, but it gives my eyes a place to rest and breathe. Oh my God, it's just so nice. I think that's one of the things about just looking at the ocean. It's so restful and there's not a lot of color. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. Love the rug. Yeah, I like bright colors. But not too many bright colors because that can be overwhelming. So I like to intersperse it with some fields of white. So find some stuff you enjoy doing and do them. The decluttering doesn't have to all be done with you. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I took that photo myself, and that's of a happy place. So every time I look at it, I go, ah. And you know what it was? It was also just a very simple view of where my toes would be, where the pool is, where the mountains are, where the sky is. And I look at that and I just, feels good. So that's what we're really going for here with the decluttering, is for you to have that feel-good feeling as much as possible. For you to have the space in your home to do things you want to do in the space you have. And if you don't want to do anything with your empty space, don't fill it with crap. If you don't want to do stuff in your, if you haven't found what you want to put in a corner, allow yourself to get comfortable with that corner being empty and see how it feels. Find things that interest you, so when you are decluttered and your home is running well and other people you're living with are participating in the maintenance of the home, that you have some fun things you want to do and you go and do them. Now, I'll be honest with you. There are some things that used to be fun to me that are just kind of meh now. Yeah, so notice Lisa says, I emptied a room and it was great. And then I started putting crap in there. Yeah, and that's why I'm a decluttering life coach. Because it's like I thought I wanted that, but something in me whispered, fill that room with crap. It didn't really say it that way, though. It said something else. And I love being that kind of clutter whisperer. I like to listen to the whispers that the clutter, or what I like to call my backseat driver, says. And it's interesting to me to find out what gets us to reclutter after we have gotten a taste of what it's like to not be cluttered. Because there's just something unresolved there, and that's okay. But when you notice that, you can change it, and then slowly but surely, and I know this from even in the time that I've lived at this house. Yeah. Marietta, it's all good. Marietta, you don't need to apologize. The only person who needs to be here doing a TikTok live, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern and ending in about 2 minutes. What did I miss? Oh, just some clutter talk. Actually, we did talk a lot about you letting go of the stuff that was owned by people who've passed. Now, the good news is, Marietta, if you're interested, it's going to be uploaded later today, okay? But no need to apologize. I'm glad you were taking care of yourself. Yeah. Yep. And so notice, Lisa, when you don't feel well physically, nothing else matters. So take care of yourself physically, okay? Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. Take care of yourself, okay? Now, Laura GV says, stuff on my bedside table, but I use it all. Cool. Is there a way you can make it easy to reach, look less cluttered, put it on a tray? Think about it. Now, I will tell you right now, the side of my bed is a hot mess now. It is such a sick room in there. It's not even funny. I've got a heating pad. I've got a tray. I've got Kleenex. I've got used and unused. I've got my water bottle. all sorts of things. But when I feel better, and I do, I'm going to clean it up. Yep. And again, Marietta, still have Christmas decorations to take down. So does Lisa. A little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. Speaking of a little bit, I feel like this was just the right amount of time. I am proud of myself for showing up on time and for staying for an entire hour and feeling better than I did yesterday. So thank you for keeping me company, and I hope this was helpful. If you want to know the next time I'm doing a TikTok live or a YouTube live, you'll have to take a look at my, well, actually, you've got to be part of my mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com, sign up, and for the mailing list, and then you get a link to a secret page. Now, I have to update the secret page because I wasn't doing that from my sick bed, okay? So I will do that. I will be back tomorrow. I do plan on feeling better. I am feeling better. All right. So if you think I'm helpful, go tell it on the mountain. Go use what I said and make a good day for you. Okay. And I'm going to do that for myself. I'm going to do a wee bit of coaching. I'm going to go to the doctor. Then I'll probably get right back in my pajamas again because that's about all the energy I have. But thank you for accompanying me on this journey, and I will see you tomorrow.